My family's originally from Brooklyn and Queens, and they started camping up in Roscoe, New York, and they ended up moving up to Roscoe. They were tired of the city, and I think it was about 3 or 4 years old they decided to move up to Roscoe. When we first started talking, he would come to visit me, and he has friends in New Paltz, which was about
like an hour.
An hour. So he would come up to see me, and I'd take him to all these sites and hiking trails around here, and that's how we fell in love. And we got together, and
7 years later.
7 years later we decided to move, and we started renting an apartment in Beacon, and it was too city-like for me, so that's why we decided to come back home.
We're on the western side of the Catskills. We're probably about 15 minutes from Bethel Woods. We actually found this house. The first day we saw it was Valentine's Day. So, and it was like, this is it.
Yeah, I was getting a little stir crazy. I wanted chicks, and I've been playing with the idea. He doesn't really know anything about chicks, so he's like, I don't know. And I'm used to raising chickens. The mother hens, they lay on the eggs and they hatch their own. And it's pretty simple. The mother will take care of them. My flock is kind of like a melting pot. Half of them are from my family. Once we moved here, my parents didn't want to take care of chickens anymore. So I decided to take them. We had an old tool shed, and we converted that into our chicken coop, which my dad helped me build. And at the time, I think we had how many?
There's a lot of roosters when they came.
They gave us about 20.
Yeah, it was about
chickens.
20 chickens.
Yeah. And probably 7 of them were roosters at the time.
It was,
So we kind of had to rehome them. And and since there, every year we start getting more chickens and adding to our flock. One day we were at the local feed store, and we saw these cute little chicks, and I was like, we should get some chicks.
They're fancy, so I was like, these are cute.
Yeah. So, I love my hens, but I want like little bantams and a variety. I want different color eggs.
More variety. Yeah.
So we toyed with the idea, and then maybe a week later, I was like, what, let's do it. We have nothing else to do. We're working from home, and let's go for it.
So luckily we have a big clawfoot tub upstairs, and we had them in there, and with the heat lamp.
Maybe I had that little panic mode, like, oh my God,
definitely did.
What if we can't go to the store and get a dozen eggs, because I think that's the worst when they stop laying and we have to buy store-bought eggs. And it's just not the same. It doesn't taste the same. So it was more of a comfort thing, knowing that I can go to my backyard, grab an egg, even if that was the only thing we had to eat, we'd have eggs.
Plus they taste better than the store, so it's a good thing.
I mean, it's very sweet, and it's also like, this is what I want to have. If the world is stopping, I want to make sure I have eggs. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Definitely.
Cause we got a cow too, right? For milk.
I wish.
So why don't I hear just a little bit about like how your life changed during the lockdown? It sounds like you were already working from home.
Yeah, so life didn't really change I guess it did change for me. I mean, I decided to transition from like bedside nursing into more of a non-traditional type of nursing, so I was working from home for an insurance company. So I was used to being home, but I had to let go of that idea of going back to a hospital, which I could have, but I didn't want to. I felt safer at home. I wanted to be with my husband and take care of my animals, and I give all those people credit. So I think that sense it changed. Your mindset, like what can I do?
My firm, I'm an architect, and my firm is in Westchester, which is about like a 2-hour commute with traffic. So every morning I would be waking up at the crack of dawn to drive down to Westchester, and luckily my boss has been great. They got a computer and for me, and now I've been able to work remotely. So since the pandemic, I've pretty much transitioned to working only remotely.
We were lucky that we were working from home. We actually just got back from a trip to see his parents in Florida, right when this whole outbreak came about.
It just started going on the news, and everybody's like, everybody's still worried. It's just the beginning. Yeah. And we were flying, and I mean, he's a nurse, so he got a bunch of like antibacterial wipes and everything for the flight. So like everybody's looking at us like wiping down our seats, like what's going on? Like what are these kids doing? But a week later, then everything was like shut down. So
we're stuck home, and we're in our own little world, and we're not homebodies. we don't mind being home. You know, we
Mhm.
like to travel, but it gave us something to do raising chickens. I expected more because, you know, you see what was going on.
Right.
in
like
other
Italy,
parts of the
and
country.
at that point,
Yeah.
you know, China, when they were already, you know,
Yeah.
quarantining for, at this point, 3 or 4 weeks before
Mhm.
us. So, I mean, we kind of,
Yeah,
you know,
I think
figured-
they, you know, we had a little warning, and
yeah,
you know, everybody else was on lockdown, and we were just starting to
right.
get into that whole process. And
Yeah.
so I was like, let's get ready.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Get that toilet paper. Right.
Everybody's worried about toilet paper.
I
I'm worried
know.
about chicken.
Food.
How am I going to get my chicken food? Or, you know,
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I didn't want to get chicks was because we were always traveling. We like to go on our weekend trips, and it's
Right,
like, what are we going to do
hiking.
with these chicks? You know, we don't have a mom to sit on the chicks. So once the lockdown happened, it's like, okay, where am I going to go? So.
Yeah.
One of the good things about the lockdown is we could be home with the chicks. And
Right. And then by the summer, we're starting to take them with us when we go places. My parents have a house upstate in Lake George, and we'd go there on the weekends. And didn't know what to do with these babies, you know, going up there. So we brought them in the car with us.
They were about, I think, 4 months, 5 months old?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for a weekend trip, I was like, I'm not going to torture whoever's taking care of the chickens to
Right.
feed the big ones and the small ones. It's just so much work.
Too much.
So I was like, I'm just going to pack them up and take them up to Lake George. So we put them in the dog crate and we load them in the car. And,
Feathers going everywhere.
Feathers all smelled a little poopy, but we would stop at the rest stop, feed them, water them.
And the neighbors were,
Then
like kind of. At first they were like, "Oh, cool, chickens," but then like we end up having like 3 roosters, so they're like
they
crowing
all
like
start
crazy.
crowing at the same time.
They're like, "Oh man, these people."
Maybe about 5:30 in the morning.
They're like, "Oh, sorry,
So we were like,
we're just here for the weekend."
Yeah, we had enough. I was like, and the big rooster wasn't getting along with the small ones. They wanted to fight, and it's pretty scary when they want to fight. So that's when we decided to rehome them. On our way home from Lake George, we decided to stop and meet this guy who wanted my rooster, and I was like, okay. So they kind of became like my children. So I was like kind of
very particular about
like who's gonna get this. So we arrived at this guy's house. It was very sketchy. I asked, can I see the chicken coop to see what your coop is like? And he said, no, I don't want to allow anybody in my coop because that's how disease spread. And
Right.
I was like, all right. I was like,
Fair enough.
I was like, and at that moment, I was like, I have to let go. So I was like, all right, where do you want me to bring, the rooster? And he's like, oh, in my pickup truck. So I walked up to the pickup truck, and he had a cage full of roosters. There's probably 6 or 7 roosters crammed up.
Tiny little cage.
And I just looked at him, and I was like, I don't think this is going to work out. So we left. And we were back to square one. We're like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
I told myself I'll keep one because my rooster's getting older. I don't know how long it's going to last.
Right.
So I was like, I'll try to give it a try. I have 2 roosters. And actually my favorite one, they weren't getting along. I was having a hard time letting go. His name was Honey Ginger. My nephew actually named him. The big one is, we call him the daddy rooster. It's Freddie, and he's 9 years old. And then we have Daffodil. He's a silky, and he was the runt of the litter. He was a surprise rooster.
It's like this big for like the longest time.
Funny story with him is we got rid of all the roosters, and I was like, oh, this is great. Now I could let the girls out. Everybody's getting along. One day I'm typing at work, and all of a sudden you hear a new crow.
New crow.
And it was like a squeak toy. I was like,
what is that?
I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is another rooster. And he's like, no,
He was
it's
hiding.
not. I'm like, I know my rooster. That's another rooster. So that's how he came out. I was like, he's like, I'm a rooster.
Yeah.
So,
I'm here, I'm a rooster.
yeah. At the same time, I was a little upset because, I only had 3 of the chicks that I raised. And I was like, I wanted more. I was looking at the different varieties and colors of them, and I had my mindset on getting one that was a little darker. And I saw this one online in New Jersey, Sussex, New Jersey, and I was like, all right, babe, like, can we get another one? He's like,
Fine, we'll get another one.
The guy was asking a little more than I would spend on the chicken, and I was like, are you sure? It's a hen, and he's like, yeah, I raised pullets, and that's definitely a hen. I was like, you sure? And I was like, I just got rid of a bunch of roosters. I can't have another rooster. He's like, yeah, it's fine. So we drove all the way to New Jersey, about it's like an hour drive.
Yeah.
And we get there, and he's like, "Oh, just pull on the side of the road." So we didn't even go in his driveway. I'm like, "All right." But I fell in love with her. She started growing bigger and bigger, and you can see the feathers coming out. And I kind of did my research, and I was like, you know what, this kind of looks like a rooster, but I was in denial. I was like, they're getting along, so it's like, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere,
this weird crow.
Yeah. Shortly
Really
after,
weird.
I named her too. It was Morticia. And
Now it's a boy.
it's a boy. Yeah.
Morticio, that's what we
Morticio.
call him now.
For me, it's more of a comfort to have chickens. Like that, I couldn't wait to have chickens again. But through this whole lockdown, just knowing that I had something to take care of to keep me busy and my mind off of what's going on outside this world, that was very important for me. So, and we did it together.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see him learn about
Yeah,
chicks.
I'm learning.
And,
I don't know anything about chickens.
him
growing
helping,
up, so.
clean the chicks' cage and
Yeah,
feed them and
petting them.
petting them, and baby chicks, they're always in their food, knocking down their
Yeah.
water and getting the shavings in there, and like, that's your turn.
Yeah.
So it became more of a comfort thing, and it kept us like a little hobby for us during the pandemic. And
Yeah, we used to have it was funny, we used to do like Facebook Live chats with our friends with the chickens, like at night.
Yeah.
Like on Friday night we'll have like drinking a beer, and we'll let the chicks out up in the attic on the floor and let them run around, like and we'll on Facebook Live, and we'll chat with our friends,
FaceTime,
FaceTime
our
people.
nephews and nieces.
Yeah,
and
so it's a way to bring people
So
together.
it was
too.
good for our family too, and our friends, and especially the kids. They got to see the chicks. Our nephews named them, and they came up with the craziest names. So it was Honey Ginger, Chocolate, Daffodil, Sunshine, and what was the other one? Cookie.
And then
Fancy April.
Fancy April.
It was another Polish crescent, so it was very fancy. So and it was April, so the kids were like, "Oh, Fancy April." So,
Yeah.
And Fancy April turned out to be another rooster as well. And we actually found a really great home
Yeah.
for Fancy April. Yeah, he ended up in Damascus, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, right in the Delaware River.
Yeah, really sweet girl, and she I think she had a rooster that got attacked.
It was the same.
And she had Polish crested. And long story short, she just messaged me and she showed me a picture. They hatched out babies. So Fancy April's a daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of brought joy to me and made me feel like, wow, like it wasn't a waste.
I moved back to West Tennessee from Virginia when I was about 5 years old. All of my family is from West Tennessee. We moved about 2 fields away from my grandparents, me, Mom, and Pop. My parents worked a lot, and so I was with my grandparents all the time, and they kind of shared their love of animals and nature with me, and we ended up raising chickens together. And of course, being in nature runs its course, so we would have weasels come in and get the chickens. And one morning we woke up to go let the chickens out of their coop at sunlight, and noticed that one had been missing, and we walked around and found one that had been killed. And so we started having funerals for all of our chickens. The first funeral, we found a really beautiful tree outside of my grandparents' home, and we got an aerobic trampoline, really small, and everyone had to take turns standing on it. The chicken was in a shoebox right in front of us. All of our chickens came from Mississippi, so we would always say, "This hen from Mississippi," and whatever its name would be. We all had to get up there and say something nice about it before we buried it. And actually, right behind the chicken coop, there's still a stone that we placed on the first chicken that we buried. I asked my grandfather if it was still there, and he's like, "Yep, I see it every time I go mow back there." They kind of let me be me and let me express my emotions, how I needed to express my emotions whenever we would have a hen pass away. And it was really sweet. It was really cool. Oh, chickens. I want more chickens.
So we have 7 major chakras. You have your crown chakra, your third eye chakra, your throat chakra, your heart chakra, your solar plexus, your sacral, and your root chakra. Those are like the 7 main focal points you would kind of focus on, and keeping those in alignment and open. So you have your crown chakra, which connects you to your higher self, God, the heavens. Then you have your third eye, which is like your insight, your dreams, your perception, your intuition. Your throat chakra is like your communication, your expression into the world, your truth. Your heart chakra is what connects you to self-love. It connects you to everyone. And that's one of the chakras when we hug that touch first. So that's what, like, you know, basically solidifies that connection. Then you have your solar plexus, which is like your will, your determination, your purpose. Then you have your sacral, which is your sexual and creative energy. This is where you create and you make things, and it's kind of like everything around you is like something that you create, and that's where like the sacral energy came from. Then you have your root chakra, which connects you to the earth. It keeps you grounded, it keeps you stable, and like your feet firmly planted on the ground. And usually when someone doesn't feel grounded, I always say practice gratitude, because gratitude definitely keeps you grounded.
Hi guys. Hi. Got the chicken. Welcome.
Reiki is a natural relaxation and stress reduction technique that activates healing on all levels of the well-being, allowing the body to relax so the body knows how to reset itself so you can feel great naturally. I teach a lot of certification classes. I teach primarily certification classes for Reiki, but it's kind of like an intro to sound healing, crystal healing, aromatherapy, light therapy. It teaches them, you know, that it's not just one technique or modality, that there's an array of modalities, and it's really up to you to find out what works best for you. Franco was in one of my works. He was in one of my recent classes, and he did absolutely phenomenal. It was just so amazing to see everybody transform from just the start to the end. He is the first chicken I've ever worked on, but it's actually my second time working on him. So I did have an experience working on him before, and he was very receptive to it as well. But he is my first chicken. I've noticed with the pandemic, a lot of people, their energies are stagnant. They don't know what to do with it. They've been in quarantine for so long, and they're just like, how do I get back to feeling like myself again? You know, I feel like I've had all this time with myself, but I still don't know what to do with it. So when they come here, they're able to release that energy and get that clarity and that inner peace that they were searching for. I love Reiki and I love the natural healing techniques because it came to me at a time I was looking for a solution for my family member, but also it completely changed my life. It completely just transformed my life. I discovered so many truths about myself, and this time around I was able to handle anything that came at my way with ease and grace, because I realized when you're at a natural state and you're aware of everything that's going on, you're more in control and you're like less to get consumed by the negativity and the drama, where you're able to say, my energy is my energy. Your energy is your energy. I read Daffodil's Chakras, and most people may not know what chakras are, but we all have 7 major energy chakras, and they actually correlate to different areas of our life. And when I did his initial chakra reading, I noticed that his root chakra was off. So it seemed like he wasn't secure or wasn't really grounded. When working in his auric fields, that's primarily where I work at when I'm practicing Reiki, because you're able to touch all levels, the mental field, the emotional field, the etheric field, and the physical, versus just laying the hands on the physical body. I noticed when I was in his auric field, he was receptive and he became more relaxed and more calm and lighter. And at the end of the session, he even fell asleep. And to the point where he woke up and was very refreshed and even made a nice little clucking sound. Selenite is actually a crystal that clears negative energy naturally. So when I was bringing the selenite wand throughout Daffodil's body, I was just cleansing his auric field, smoothing his energy out, so it naturally can just release and break away. So when I noticed that his root chakra was off, I noticed Franco said that he was having issues with one of the other bigger birds in the coop. So that basically confirmed why his root chakra was closed, because when your root chakra is closed, it's like it's your connection to the earth. It's you feeling grounded and safe and secure. So it makes sense why Daffodil hasn't been feeling like himself. New energy, probably a little more powerful. It makes him feel uncomfortable, uneasy. So that's why it was easy for me to kind of like know and pinpoint where we had to start and work on.
Watch it, don't
Here they
jump
go.
all over you.
You make that one. Check everywhere else.
Gavin's gonna be turning 10, and Gianni's 6 years old.
Me, my Mimi and Papa and my brother here, we took care of the chickens, and we lived in the same house, so we took care of them like kind of together. And then my uncle took them, and now he has them, and he did buy a couple of more. So now he's got a couple more chickens, and whenever we come here, we sometimes help him feed them. So during the pandemic, we didn't really come here that much. Sometimes we come here and just visit, just to see the chickens here and there. One of the chickens, they had babies, so we actually did a FaceTime and we named them.
Tell me again, because I want to hear. I think it's really important that we hear what it's been like for you, because you've had to stay home.
At the end of 2020, they actually shut down the school, and so we actually are kind of virtual here and there, and we go to the actual school. He goes to the actual school pretty much every day, and I go every Monday and Tuesday.
Has it been nice to do things like this, to get out with your uncles, other times to, because otherwise, are you home a lot?
I am home a lot with my brother and stuff, but it actually is nice to come out with my uncles and just be able to see the chickens and go hiking and stuff. At least we get to be out of the house. Our sister is on life-sustaining machines, so it was a little rough when we had the chickens, because sometimes I'd have to watch my sister here and there. So it was a little rough there, and also we like to play games with her and stuff, and the chickens sometimes were a little bit too distracting, especially the rooster, because he used to go clock-a-doodle-doo or whatever. On the weekends and days that we aren't at school and stuff, I actually help my mom with my sister. I help still play games with her, and also help her get out of bed, because she can't really move that much. I don't remember when she got trached, but she does have a trach.
What is a trach?
It's like a thing where they put down in your throat, so you could because you can't, how we clear our throats and stuff? She can't do that because she can't really move, but she can talk.
Do you ever get scared about your sister getting sick from COVID?
We don't really go out that much, so I'm not that scared of her getting it, but with the nurses coming in our house, I'm a little bit scared, just to be safe and stuff and all that, so yeah.
Gavin and Gianni, they come often, probably every other weekend.
Right, yeah.
We like to take them out when we can, because, they're home with, the whole quarantine, plus their sister, so they don't get out as much. Gabriella has SMA, it's called spinal muscular atrophy. She has type 1, which is the worst. It's, to compare it to, anything else, it's like ALS for kids, pretty much. She was diagnosed when she was about 6 months old, and she didn't develop the regular, milestones for a baby, as far as movement and feeding. So that's when she was diagnosed. And they give her actually 2 years, and she's gonna be 12 years old.
12, yeah.
So yeah, her birthday's coming up too soon, and so she's 12. She's getting big. She can't move. She's pretty much bedridden or in the wheelchair. She can't sit up straight. She has a feeding tube, a trach, which is for her breathing. Since she got the trach, she's been 100% better. She's not in she used to be in the hospital nonstop.
Right.
Yeah. So honestly, with the whole COVID thing, we were more afraid to go see them or even have them come to us.
Exactly.
Because we didn't know with the virus how it would affect them.
Yeah, we didn't know anything.
So there was a time period where we wouldn't go over there at all.
Yeah.
And we would avoid seeing people because we didn't want to take that little chance if we hung out with the boys. We didn't want to contaminate the boys and bring it home to sister.
Bring it home.
We take them out everywhere.
They like hiking.
We like hiking. We try to take them on like baby steps, trying to get them to go into bigger hikes. Because depending on the day, I don't know if you know, like kids, they could do 3 miles one day, and the next day you're a quarter mile, and they're like,
I'm tired.
I want to go home. So we take them throughout the Catskills or Poconos, and we take them to like the fire towers. We climb the fire towers.
Went to some caves, stuff like that they haven't really seen.
Underground caves up in.
Yeah, we took like to a mine and some other.
Yeah, and the past couple months, that's all we do because you with the virus, you can't really. You're not gonna go to the mall.
Restaurant, can't go to
not gonna go to the arcade.
Movies, can't do that. So outside,
we make the best of it. Actually, Gavin, he helped us move the chickens. We had them all in a big cage here, and my mom was like, "Oh yeah, they're all like hens." I think there's like one rooster in there, but
it's like 9 roosters.
She lied to me. She
like 10 or 9 roosters.
There's a bunch of roosters,
all fighting.
and I was like, "No, mom."
So we had to get rid of them.
So Daddy Rooster was that bunch, and he was like one of the prettiest ones, and he had like a sibling that was Gavin's rooster. He used to call him Grape Orange, and so I kept them, and the other ones we gave actually to Gabriella's nurse, wanted them, so they took them, and
But Gavin and Gianni live with Mimi and Papa, and it's one house, and it's a 2-family house. The chickens they grew up with the chickens there at the house. So.
Yeah, but he was very active as a child, like when he was like, I want to say like 3 or 4 years. We have videos of him like running around the chickens, and he would collect the eggs, and he used to get so excited. He's very smart, and he used to tell me he wants to be a nurse one day like me, and I think I could see it one day because since he was probably, I want to say like Gianni's age, like 5, 6 years old, he learned how to suction her. Sometimes she can't really bring up her secretions, and her oxygen levels kind of lower, and you could tell. She'll let you know. And he'll jump in there, grab the suction machine, and kind of go in there. If there's no nurse around, your mom and dad's not around, he's in there taking care of her. And so I think for a young kid, he goes through a lot, and he's very smart, and he knows a lot about like, kids with disabilities. So I think he's special in that way. And it's good because a lot of kids don't see that. It's not a normal thing. Exactly. So with COVID, people, they don't understand when you're trying to protect your family and what's going on, and you could bring this virus home, to children, and I wouldn't be able to live with myself if something happened to her.
Do you think it was scary for them to have, have COVID with their sister?
I think in a way that having a sister that has health needs, I think they were more used to precautions. At a young age, we were always going to the hospital because sister was in the hospital. So they always wore masks when they went to the doctor's office. So that part was normal for them, whereas other kids didn't have to deal with that. So I guess in a way they were kind of like, whatever. So, they were used to not going to school sometimes because sissy was sick. So they would stay home. So I think in that way it was easier for them, but I think it was scary when they couldn't go to school. They couldn't see us,
Friends,
but I think they coped pretty well, especially, once things calmed down and we kind of took them under our wing, and things got a little better.
Get them out of the house.
I was always struggled with weight, put it that way. I was always trying to be on a yo-yo diet. But when I was about, I want to say 15, 16 years old, I discovered Reiki. And it was this something I wanted to try. And I even would ask my parents, oh, I want to try Reiki, I want to do this course. And my parents would be like, no, you know. So I kind of like put that on the back burner, and I went for nursing school. So I kind of, you know, went into the mindset of medicine, and, you know, as I got my experience in nursing, I kind of found myself wanting to take more of a holistic approach. And throughout this whole quarantine, I realized I wasn't really taking care of myself. So that's when, you know, I kind of thought about Reiki, and I was talking to Anthony about that, and I had my first Reiki session. And after that, you know, feeling that positive experience I had, I wanted to learn how to do that, incorporate that with nursing. And, you know, that's my dream, is to kind of develop a practice Reiki, and learn more holistic skills and approaches, so I can use that. And I think that's what I've been missing for myself. It's more like a self-awareness. Since I learned it, I think I kind of influenced him as well.
Yeah, we've actually stopped drinking, and we've been
dieting. Since you were last here, I don't know, something clicked. After a while, you know, like I said, I'm always on a yo-yo diet. I'm always working out. You know, one year we're like the best shape of our lives, and then the next year we're like 30 pounds, 40 pounds overweight. Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, this is not working for us. Yeah. You know, constantly, you know, thinking, you know, what am I putting in my body? You know, why am I so stressed? Why am I so angry? You know, so Reiki helped me kind of be a better person, because, you know, I found myself so stressed. I was so focused on work, this quarantine, I wasn't going out. You know, I was doing all the things that I love to do, like hiking, and that's my escape, like nature. But I decided, like, I need to take care of myself, eat healthy, cleanse my aura, my person who I am, and be a nicer person. So I think with Reiki, that kind of helped me develop, calm down, meditate, relax. Yeah, we're working out, we cut out alcohol.
You lost 30 pounds.
I've lost like 30 pounds. You can't really tell because but I feel better, like physically. You know, I've been doing with my practice, the Reiki, I do my self Reiki that I learned through my course with Anthony. I do the Reiki on him, you know, we're working out, doing yoga, we're meditating. So it's motivated me to be a better me. And that's kind of pushing me to be a better nurse too. Now I'm kind of missing dealing with people and kind of inspiring them, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of lost my interest in nursing, is because we're all trying to push medicine all the time, and we're not taking care of ourselves, and we forget to take care of ourselves. And I think even doctors, you know, no offense to doctors, you know, when you need a doctor, it's very important to go to the hospital, get medication, but we're not preventing stress, we're not preventing disease. Once you sit down and you kind of learn yourself, and, you know, learn what you're putting in your body, how you're moving your body, how you're treating your body, how you're treating others, whether it be, you know, your family, your coworkers, your animals, you kind of get that sense, like, okay, well, if I take care of this chicken better, and I feed them organic food, and I give them love, I give them clean water, and, you know, their food's not molded, they're gonna thrive.
Right.
So the same thing with you. It makes me feel better, and it just improves my health and makes him feel good.
Yeah,
he loves
feels
it.
Good.
Yeah. So I'm just very motivated now. Since the last time you were here, there's a million and one things I want to do to be like a better nurse, a better husband, better chicken dad, better person. During, you know, the quarantine, you know, that was a comfort thing, you know, let's hoard all the food, let's drink. You know, it was becoming a every weekend habit. And you know, it's like, you know, it's not healthy. You know, me as a nurse, I should know that it's not healthy. So that's why I decided, you know, after New Year's, we cut it out. And actually, I don't miss it.
I don't miss it at all, honestly.
Well, I'm not gonna say I won't drink again, but I just want to focus on clean eating, being healthy, and make yourself happy. It doesn't take a lot to make yourself happy. You know, people are always like, oh, you know, this I had a bad day, I'm gonna go grab a glass of wine. It's like, no, try going for a walk, go to nature, go out hiking. If you find yourself, you go run for a mile, see how you feel afterwards. I guarantee you're gonna feel a lot better than that bottle of wine you're gonna drink, and then the next morning you're gonna feel like crap. So that's why I'm very happy, you know, I took that step to get better, and you know, it's not about how you're gonna look, it's how you feel. With all the loss that we went through, I think it's definitely a spiritual awakening, put it that way. Everybody experiences a little differently. People might have lost someone they cared about, or the stress alone of being cooped up in a house. I think mentally it's gonna affect people either negatively or positively. Even if tomorrow was our last day, do you want to live your life to the best? You know how you influencing the children. You know, you know, instead of feeling sorry for yourself, try to be the best you. You know, I think the way we cope was like, you know, it's the end of the world, like screw it. You know, I'm just screw it.
First 3 months.
I think we all went through that. You know, screw it. I'm gonna buy stuff I don't need. You know, I'm gonna eat everything. I'm gonna get all this takeout, drink whatever I want. I don't care. Who cares? I'm you know, I'm gonna wear my yoga pants because I'm fat now. I'm like, no, like you don't have to be that way. You can lift your vibrations, work on your energy. You're the only person that control yourself. You know, you can't help if you get sick. You could prevent it, and you could also make yourself better even when you're sick. So I think that's very important with this. They are my children. Besides the kids, those are I'm like, those are my babies. But I'm very protective with my animals. So, you know, like this, we're talking about being better people, and I kind of feel guilty, like how I reacted towards like some of our neighbors, like when their dogs came around, they're after my chickens, and I was like so like, get your dog away from my chickens. So it's like this summer I have to like have a heart to heart and be like, you know, these are my children. These are like my heart. Like, here's some eggs. I'm sorry I yelled at you. Like,
keep your dog off my property.
Please, you know, those are my babies. So, a family is not just having children. It's, you know, what you make of it. It could be friends. It could be your pets, your chickens, your dog. You know, and that's what it is for us. You know, your nephews. You know, so that's what I'm focused on. There is more to life than, you know, worrying and getting angry
and work and
worrying about, you know, what could happen. It's just live in the moment. Get a chicken, you know, get a chicken. Eat an egg.
Eat an egg.